is very important. It's very important to know if your household size, it will change in the future. And for how long, how long do you have when your household is a specific size? Another question, it could be how stable is your employment, right? So maybe after pandemic, we decide to change careers, and maybe we don't know if we're gonna continue with the same employment, or maybe we decide to do some changes. Sometimes, with after pandemic, so many organizations and companies, they close down or they reduce their people. Do you have a strong financial management system in place? Like you already know how you balance your monthly obligations, if you set aside some specific money for your savings. This pandemic, it shows a lot how important it is for us to establish, our emergency goal, to keep your credit in progress, keep your relationship with any counselor to help you with your finances. So let's review all these questions yourself so you can determine if at this moment or in the near future, it will be better for you to rent or buy. Thank you. David, next. So for San Francisco rental housing, many tenancy options in San Francisco apartments shared through housing co-living below market rate BMR rentals. Non-profit housing rent can be increased annually subject to rent control laws. So as we can see, the rent control, it was applicable to most units constructed before June 1979, except single family and condos. Now, the allowable rent increase based on the CPI. So we can see an example right here that we have to think about is, March 21 through February 28, 2022, the allowable increase is 0.7%. Now, from March 1st, 2022 through February 28, 2023, its allowable increase is 2.3%, meaning all the rentals are going to be increasing, and we already start seeing these increases in San Francisco. So maybe it's a moment to think about, well, if I have to pay all this amount of money, maybe it's already the same amount of money that if I buy a house, that probably it could be the same money for, your mortgage payment. You are welcome to come to any of these organizations so we can do a financial assessment and verify what it would be the best option for you if you right now are renting and you want to move to the next level to purchase. Is this still mine, David? All right. So renting a home, well, okay, so it's still mine. Okay, so renting a home, well, it's a faster way to secure housing. You don't have to come up with a big or large savings to put as a down payment. It's a lower entry cost, possible monthly cost. Landlord is responsible for maintenance and repairs, reduce liability, your insurance cost. You can have mobility, so you can move quickly if you decide to. And some utilities might be included in the rent. So be sure you understand the lease terms. Are you the master tenant or the subtenant? So here the rental risk, the downsides are you can be evicted even after living there many years. Even with the rental protections, might not get to stay forever. Not an investment, no gains, no equity. You don't have the ability to improve value. It's subject to landlord rules and restrictions, might not be allowed to pay, have pets, etc. Landlord relationship way varies. You might have concerns about maintenance, management, or other conflicts. First, I think, Kitty, this is just live.
I don't know if this is mine.
I mean, I can continue. Just let me know when I can stop, David, please. Okay.
Kitty, this is when your section begins. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, I'll pick up where you were leaving off. Thank you, Jacqueline. Hi, everyone. Again, this is Kitty Lee. I'm with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage. Before we start, just kind of give you a little bit of a background about myself. I've been doing this probably about 30 years. And yes, I started when I was 6 years old. Currently, I live in the peninsula with my husband, 2 kids, and 3 dogs. And as an immigrant from Hong Kong many years ago, one of the first things that my parents did is that as soon as they got here, they both worked 2 jobs, saved up to buy a house. And currently, I am a homeowner as well as an investor. So home ownership is very much close and dear to my heart. So I'm going to talk to you tonight and share with you from a lender perspective. And if you guys have any questions, I can definitely share with you my journey to home ownership myself. But anyway, let's talk about the financial benefits of homeownership. Well, first of all, as we all know, we have tax benefits. I cannot tell you exactly how much you can write off because I'm not a tax advisor. However, you can certainly talk to your CPA or financial planner, and typically you can deduct the interest and even maybe perhaps the property taxes associated with your principal residence. So that's the potential benefit. And then there's something called mortgage credit certificate. The city of San Francisco offers a program for eligible home buyers to increase the ability to qualify for mortgage loan and reduce the effective mortgage interest rate. Now, this is actually the MCC program is a very unique program. I'm the first to tell you that I am not familiar with this program because certain lenders have to participate in this, and Wells Fargo currently does not participate in the MCC. But I'm sure Jacqueline and her association and her they can probably refer you to another lender that actually specializes in the MCC. So David, next one, please. All right, homeownership. So first of all, as a homeowner, you have fixed monthly housing cost. With a fixed mortgage interest rate, your payments remain the same. Now, for those of you who may be brand new into this homeownership journey, when you finance a mortgage, you have different options. You have the traditional fixed interest rate, meaning the interest rate is fixed for the entire duration of the mortgage, or you can have an adjustable interest rate. Some of the adjustable interest rate, they're very popular nowadays, are what we call 7/6 months ARM or 10/6 months ARMs, meaning the rate is fixed for the first 7 or the first 10 years, giving you the stability of a fixed monthly payment. And after that, the rate will become adjustable. And the reason why some people choose that over the traditional 30-year fixed rate is that the interest rate, the start rate for these adjustables, the hybrids, are usually lower in the beginning, in the first 7 or the 10 years. So a lot of people say, hey, you know what, rates are so high nowadays, let me get into this house first, let my payment be a little bit lower so that at least I have time to refinance and maybe to catch up. Another benefit of owning a home is to build equity and pass on to generation wealth. Depending on, again, where you buy, traditionally in the San Mateo County where I'm in, The historical appreciation is about 6.32%. And remember, it's compounded. So on a house that is worth about 1.3 million right now, in 10 years, assuming the appreciation remains the same steadily every 10 years, every year for the next 10 years, you're going to build over $1 million equity in 10 years. Okay, so the third benefit is you have financial benefits from improvements and upgrades. So as a tenant, if you paint the house, if you improve anything, guess what? Your landlord keeps the improvements. As a homeowner, you actually keep those improvements. And of course, you get control over your living environment, ability to customize and personalize the space. Needless to say, you can do all kinds of upgrades. You can paint your walls pink. No one will care. But of course, as a tenant, you cannot do that. Next, please. All right, down payment. Now, there's a lot of myths about down payments. As home prices getting expensive in the Bay Area, some of you may wonder that how are you going to save that 20 or 25% down payment? Well, first of all, depending on the size of the mortgage you buy, you technically only need to have 3 to 5% of the sales price. Sometimes you may have slightly more if you include some closing costs, and there are some down payment assistance program available. So don't think that you have to save up $100,000, $200,000, even $300,000 to buy a home. Now, of course, your rate may be slightly lower or your payment will be lower if you have larger down payments, but it is not an absolute requirement. In addition to the down payment, as I mentioned earlier, you have title and escrow fees, recording fees, and transfer tax fees, and you also have to prepay property tax. So I would say if you look at, I'm going to pick $600,000. If you look at a $600,000 home, if you do the typical 3% down, I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator. You're looking at $18,000 down payment. Again, just like buying a car, you cannot just pay the sticker price. There's some fees and taxes on top of that. So what I would suggest is that to at least be prepared to have between 5 to maybe up to 7% of the sales price to incorporate the down payment and also all the closing costs. Next, please. All right, so you hear some veterans like myself who talks about you use a lot of lingo. So a lot of things that we refer to call PITI. PITI simply stands for principal, interest, taxes, meaning property tax, and insurance, plus homeowners association dues. And this is really all your all-inclusive housing payment. So each month when you buy this house for $600,000 with, let's say, 30% down, in addition to make that mortgage payment to Wells Fargo, you also have to pay the HOA dues if you purchase a townhouse or condo. You are required to purchase minimum fire insurance on the house. Unless your house is located in a flood zone, then you must purchase flood insurance. And of course, you have to pay property tax to Uncle Sam. Now, other home expenses, obviously, is not something that you pay regularly to Wells Fargo or to your HOA, but you must be prepared for will be maintenance, repairs, mortgage insurance, utilities, and whatnot. So again, just don't look at just your housing expense. Look at the PITI payment as the only payment that you have to pay each month. Next, please. All right, downsides. Of course, not every homeownership is not the only solution for everybody. The downside is that you have more financial responsibilities. It requires extensive record keeping and long-term planning. Unlike you buy an expensive, even a car, if you don't like it, you can sell the car. Maybe you can take a small loss. Especially nowadays, you can probably make money buying a car and sell them used. But the downside of owning a home is that it is a long-term investment goal. It is not something that you should take on very lightly. Again, it's long-term planning. Higher upfront cost, generally higher monthly payment depending on the purchase price. In our world, we call that payment shock. That means that if you are renting a house paying $3,000 in rent, chances are by the time you buy this house, even with your typical 10, maybe even 20% down, chances are your total PITI or housing payment would exceed what you're paying right now for rent. So definitely upfront higher cost because you'll be depleting your saving for the down payment, and also your monthly payment will go up. And also it's harder to relocate, right? Because if you relocate, then you have to sell the house and you have to rent it out. And if the property value goes down, you may not have an easy time selling. Also, investment gains, losses, depending on the market. Now, again, there's no guarantee that there is going to be this 6% appreciation. The 6.32 that I mentioned earlier is the historical data, but that means that there might be some years that go up 10%, some years that went down negative. So really, make sure that you're looking at this not just purely from an investment standpoint, meaning that you don't want to imagine, you don't want to bet on buying this 1.3 or $600,000 house, then it's going to worth 700,000 2 years from now or 3 years from now. It would be great if it does. Chances are it may, but again, you need to make sure that you have the risk tolerance and also the risk capacity to take on the potential losses. Next, please. All right, homeowner responsibilities, HOA participation. Do you have time and energy to participate in homeowners association and attend the monthly board meetings? If you happen to purchase a condominium, each condominium have a board that you may even want to run and be a board member. And then definitely you can voice your opinion. You can actually kind of fix the things that you don't like to see. Long-term maintenance. Can you budget and plan for large expenses in the future? Again, depending on what you buy, if you buy a single family home, you may have to replace the roof. You may have to go ahead and do the yard. There's a lot of things that you need to do. Financial management. Are you committed to ongoing record keeping and financial planning? And of course, would you have the discipline to save $25 for roof replacement 5 years from now? So those are the things that you need to be prepared for, not just say, well, I spend my $40,000 to buy this house and I'm living paycheck to paycheck. You need to be prepared for repairs and maintenance. Next, please. Lender will consider the following. So when you come to me and say, Kitty, I am ready to buy a house, I say, great, let's work. So let me tell you what lenders look for. And then again, I'm going to generalize everything. I am not going to, this is not just purely Wells Fargo view, but all lenders look for pretty much the same thing. So credit, available funds for down payments, will you use the home buyer assistance program, and employment history. So basically I tell all my buyers and say, there are 3 things we look for in general: credit, ability to repay. And ability to repay simple is, what is your expense to income ratio? How much money do you make? And out of how much money you make, how much money is going to be allocated for paying your mortgage, paying for expenses, any things that is on your credit report. And the last bucket we look for is skin in the game, which is equity. How much are you putting down? Because if we think about it, if you buy this $600,000 condo and you put 5% down or 10% down, at the end of the day, you're in partnership with your lender. Let's say Wells Fargo in this situation. You put in 10%, we put in the rest of the 90%. So, obviously you will be considered as a lower risk customers if you can put more down payment versus less down payment. So these factors, along with current interest rates, will determine your monthly mortgage payment. Next, please. All right, so I guess this is my slide. I'm sorry, David.
I think this is for me,
Okay.
Carrie. Thank you so much. Well, here's some questions for you. Are you still unsure? Attend the city program orientation or home buyer workshop. You can find out all the classes are free. You can check at homeownershipsf.org. You will find out all the 5 agencies that we are part of the collaboration with Homeownership SF, where you can choose where you can take the classes. All these classes, we are going to refer to all the down payment assistance programs that are offering by the city of San Francisco. So after that, you can request a free one-on-one counseling session with a HUD-approved housing counselor and meet with a loan officer for a no obligation pre-qualification. All these classes are free. If you are interested to take it, as I mentioned, Meta has, we will have our next class this Saturday coming, but also you can check on the website. I'm gonna type it on the chat for you to check it. So this is the website for Homeownership SF, but also we have our own website where you can check the classes that we are offering at Meta. We are teaching these classes, English and Spanish, and we teach it once a month. For you, if you want to try and look at it, what all the down payment assistance program through the San Francisco city. Next. And you might know this is the Housing Expo. Thank you so much. Homeownership was in charge completely to program all these classes for us. And this Saturday, we're gonna be in person where you can get a lot of resources. We're gonna have a lot of lenders. We're gonna have all the 5 organizations sharing here all the information. You are welcome to come. I hope we can see you there. And we also gonna have an individual assistance to others, any financial hardship that you might have. So we're gonna be on this Saturday, October 1st, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can check at homeownershipsf.org. What is the location? I think we're gonna be on Bayview. I don't know if JB, we are able to put the address where it's gonna be the in-person a fair where people can go. Let me see if I can have the address on my phone so I can type it for you. So you can have it.
It's the Loyola Harvard Early Education School right next to the Bayview Opera House, right on 3rd Street.
Okay, I'm gonna type it. Okay. And this is at 1520 Oakdale Avenue. Hope we can see you there. So I'm sorry. All right. So it's right there. 1520 Oakdale Avenue. So I think we are finished our presentation. I don't know if anybody has a question. I think we have plenty of time to be able to answer. Please let us know. I believe so, Kimberly. Jamie, they're asking if these licenses are going to be available. I think it's going to be recorded, or it's recorded and it's going to be posted later on the Homeownership SF website.
Yeah, that's correct. We're gonna have all the workshops posted to the Homeownership SF YouTube page, and you'll be able to find those on homeownershipsf.org. Give us maybe a week to get them all edited and posted up there. But you should be able to find them, and we'll send a follow-up email next week as well.
Let me encourage everybody to don't be shy. Pick up the call and call your local lenders. Even if you don't think that you're ready for homeownership, but you'd like to see, hey, maybe I'm going to be there a year later. Call your favorite lenders and have them go through the scenario over the phone. Most lenders don't need to do a credit check. Most lenders don't even need to pull to verify your income. Just over the phone, do a consultation call. Takes about 20 to 30 minutes. In general, we will be able to give you a rough idea where you're at. And if you're not there, no big deal. Like I said, homeownership may not be right for everybody. It may not be right for you at the moment. But at least if you have a goal, at least you can set up. So one of the things that I like to do with a lot of my first-time home buyers are, let's say they are paying $2,500 in rent right now, and going forward to purchase a home, their monthly payment is $5,000 a month. They can kind of make it, but it's a little bit tight. So I would suggest them to do is to pretend that they have purchased this house for now, And instead of paying $2,500 a month for rent, pay the $2,500 plus deposit another $2,500 in a new savings account. And this way, they achieve several things. It forces them to save for the down payment. Secondly, it gives them a taste what their lifestyle would be had they purchased now and have to pay $5,000 a month for paying Wells Fargo or your lender for the mortgage. This way, they'll be able to see, hey, you know what? After 6 months, I'm used to it. I can still live paying $5,000 a month. Or you may come to the realization that, hey, you know what? I don't have a life. I cannot go out to eat because I am so poor paying my mortgage. I don't like this. Then it's perfectly fine. You can still remain as a renter until you're ready. So talking to us, I think, is the best start of inquiring whether or not you're ready now or maybe down the road.
Yeah, thank you, Kitty, for that. I think we have another question from Kimberly. Unfortunately, this class is not towards to any certification. You need to still take the first-time home buyer workshop. That's the one you are missing. Yeah, so this class is not towards to that. I'm also including on the chat our link for our classes at Meta. If you are interested, as Kitty mentioned, you can come to us, hear what are the down payment assistance programs available through the city, and we can do a financial assessment and check if possible how much you are able to qualify, and also if you see how much you have for down payment, for closing costs, and give you a scenario what it will look like, and decide if you want to save for the 6 months to put you, approve if you are able to continue, if you want to continue saving for your mortgage, or in the case that you buying, how you will feel like paying all that big amounts. I don't know if we have any more questions.
All right, last chance for questions. Otherwise, I'd like to really thank our wonderful presenters, Jackie and Kitty. Thank you so much for presenting and sharing your vast wealth of knowledge with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and we hope to see you this Saturday as our in-person, after pandemic, in-person, our housing expo.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.